All right, gemstone water bottles. I'm happy to see these knockoffs blow up. The Vita Jewel is so crazy expensive. It's essentially the same thing. And not only do they charge like 4 times more for their water bottles, they sell you their proprietary blends. It's a bit scammy, but these are cool. 14 bucks, you can put your own crystals in there. You can put things that are not crystals in there. I like the sheaths. I wonder if it comes with it. You can hide your crystal water bottle from your Baptist grandma. Some Tchotchke gemstone wares. $8 for these pieces. They're pretty silly, but I could never make these for $8. This tent is kind of just like the Tchotchke gemstone tent.
This is there for another crystal man pride.
Crystal man pride.
It's over there. And those are the I'm talking about.
Here's some bismuth. Here's some cool videos of people making this stuff out of Pepto-Bismol.
What?
Yeah, the Bismol and in Pepto is the bismuth. So, if I did smoke, I don't think I would want to smoke out of a gemstone pipe. Harder stones like the quartz might not be so bad, but the softer stuff like the lapis, especially in the lower qualities, you're definitely going to be smoking material in there, the azurite, and whatever else is in there. The zoisite and ruby. Yeah, there's a little filter in there and some stainless steel, but you really shouldn't even be smoking out of stainless steel. Those are $12 each. You can get these off of wish.com for like $4 and wait like 2-3 months for them to arrive here in the States. Little $7 pieces of fluorite. These are cute little heat-treated Buddhas. I really like the satin finish. And I like this lower quality piece. I don't know if this is considered the carnelian. It's probably just wound up here in the batch from whatever factory was cutting these, but I really like it. $3 each. I could never cut these for $3. If I cut this, I would have to get at least 200 bucks if I cut this myself. Some of what looks like obsidian. Love the satin finish. A great textural value. Some gemstones imprisoned in plastic. This is like a super cheap knockoff orgonite. If you folks would like to see some really high quality orgonite, check out my Tucson Gem and Mineral videos from 2 years ago. My friend Ken makes some of the best stuff being sold in Tucson. A lot of people in the industry call this knockoff stuff glitterite.
Yeah.
A lot of people wonder, why do they encase it inside of resin? Well, I guess since it compresses, it creates like a piezoelectric reaction, which does something with the orgonite. Well, looks like the organites are going for about $19 to $20, $21. Kind of looks like lapis. Maybe it's dyed. $3 wholesale. I wonder if they'll even sell at retail. So man-made opalite. This is Pretty cool. My friend Phoenix makes similar pieces of leather. This is definitely some pleather. Pleather alligator. She makes a lot of her stuff out of buffalo and ostrich. How did you get in here, little guy? Looks like somebody dropped him. Some obviously simulated turquoise. I wonder if it's like a dyed stone or if it's like a acrylic or resin. Tough to tell without cutting into it. This looks like it's some simulated amber. $3.50 for these little Chinese clusters. They look like they're drilled into instead of just glued. Not bad for $3.50, but I wouldn't want to wear it. $45 for these heart rhodonite keychains. Looks like there's 15 of them in there. So $3 each isn't too bad. Little $1 lapis cabs. They kind of look enhanced. It's a little tough to tell inside of this lighting, but I think it's enhanced. These little gemstone vials are pretty cool. It even comes with a pipette to get the liquids inside of there. You can put all kinds of stuff in there. Perfumes, party favors, holy water. Whatever floats your boat. I think these are really cool. I would want mine out of silver, and the vintage ones aren't really too expensive. So, you know, you could probably buy some vintage ones for 40, 50, 60 bucks. And yeah, made out of real silver, and so the Tchotchke version is kind of not really worth it. $7 for some Celtic Amazonite hearts. You can tell they're using a saw. Might be a little tough to tell here in the crotch of the cross, but they cut a little too deep in there. And then they're probably tumbled before they're drilled, and they put the little bail on there. Some little fish. For those of you that don't know, who are watching from out of the country, the fish is kind of associated with Christianity. These are some dyed howlite pieces, and they are priced as such. Some of these are almost convincing, where pieces like this with the white are definitely a sign of it being howlite. But in this booth in particular, you can definitely expect to get what you pay for. Looks like some serpentine little round, so it looks like a 4 millimeter, maybe 4.5 millimeter hole. I prefer my hole a little bit smaller than that, but someone could easily make their money back several times over by fashioning those into necklaces. $25 for a bag of satin finished carnelian Buddhas. Not bad. A lot of people, actually more and more people here in the States, are making a living from doing reselling on social media. I never really got into reselling, but I understand and respect it big time. And places like this definitely, you know, supply those folks who are, you know, $1 at a time kind of pieces. I love these rhodonite pigs. They are so cute. Are they all the same? Can't tell. Looks like none of them sold yet. But I love them. Gemstone pigs. I'm supposed to find the cat for my nephew. $8.50 it looks like for most of those larger gemstone sculptures. These slightly smaller pieces are looking like they are $6 each. These alabaster sculptures are $3.50. Little owls, super cute. Probably a lot easier to make than things like those pigs or those elephants. Some nice Lapidary cabs, not the best, but definitely not the worst. These are probably better than most of the ones I've ever cut. They're just here, maybe somebody picked them out, changed their mind, and left them here instead of returning them. But you should definitely return them if you decide you don't want to buy them. Some titanium plated sculptures. These tend to be super rudimentary, but I always like the way they look. Sometimes the simplest stuff looks the best. Lapidary rooster. These are $3.50 each for all the different variations. Not bad. Where these larger Buddhas look like they're $24 each, that doesn't make much sense. I imagine these are a lot easier to make than these are. But definitely, you know, they price the materials different depending on what show they're showing at. And if the stickers are there, sometimes they just leave them on there instead of taking time to remove thousands of pieces of sticker for any particular show. Looks like the same Buddhas for $12 from right here, where the stickers say 24. So this was probably definitely most likely sold for 24 at a different show, and at this show, which is definitely a lower budget show, much like Tucson and Quartzite, they're being sold for 12. It's just easier to throw the sign in there and leave the stickers on and take the time to pick them off. These are cute. Are they frogs? I think they are. My nephew hates frogs. I personally love frogs and all amphibians and lizards and reptiles. Some crystal man pride. The little guy over there probably wandered off from this little section of Amazonite crystal man pride. These are cool. Almost reminds you of something that you'd see in New Zealand. Looks like they're $5 each. The smaller ones are $3.50. Don't see any cats. There's some palm stones and some free forms. This lapidary almost looks like the Taos County material. $26. This is definitely something I can make for less than what they're selling it for. Look at that. Is it a dragon or is it a dinosaur? One way or another, it is definitely about 5 times too expensive. I think it's more dinosaur than dragon. But what is a dragon anyway? Really cool. Some nice petrified wood, freeform, flat standers. even though I could make those types of lepidolite freeform standing pieces a lot more affordable than perhaps those are being sold for. I don't think I could do the same with the petrified wood. It's just such a tough material to carve. You definitely ruin your wheels when you're cutting it. And so it's probably just easier to buy. Here's something you don't see every day. Starting to see more and more of these. You see a lot more of the crystal man pride than you do see those. $16 flames. You see some really large versions of these coming out of Brazil. I like these. These are cut using diamond water cooled angle grinders. And then a bit of the same, but in a different material. Like the bowls. There's a lot of Asian wholesalers that sell these for closer to $6 or $7 each. And there's some gentlemen during the Tucson show that sells very thin versions for like $30. And I love the thin ones. Definitely fragile, but you wouldn't want to leave it on your coffee table or something. Super cool. Some ammonite. These are cute. I wonder if these are the natural shape, or if these were like larger, perhaps like widthwise, and they just broke. So they polished them into the smaller shape to make it look like it was whole, but it could have just been the inner piece of the broken piece that they shape into the little ammonite, whichever, whatever. These are 50% off, so it looks like they're going for about, between $20 and $30 each. Some labradorite. I don't think we need to take too much of a look at this material. This is every day nowadays. My good friend Sprite, who you might have seen in some of my earlier Tucson videos, actually used to say that 20 years ago this material used to be so much more valuable. But due to the internet and how popular the Tucson, Denver quartzite shows have gotten, the prices have dropped significantly. And it's just one of those materials that even though there's less of it in the ground, well, there's still a lot of it, but you know, so much is being cut and less of it's in the ground than ever before. It's still becoming more and more affordable than it has every year that passes. I don't cut a lot of labradorite from rough, but in the past I have taken slabs like this, mostly on commissions or from customers and such, where I can see the flash and I'll slice it thin and make cabs that way. Yikes. These are $28 for these Chinese crystal points. Well, for that piece, sorry. I was traumatized from the screen. I think these are Chinese, not Brazilian, but I could be wrong. Here's some abalone shells. These are coated in a resin, which I really like. A lot of people like to use this as a smudge bowl. Shells are kind of creepy to me because of all the nasty stuff inside of them. And I think the resin on the outside of these is absolutely awesome. It's a totally great idea. $7.50, looks like they're going for a little bit more than double, but with the resin on the outside, and they're not going to be flaking and chipping off all over the place. If you're a smoker, that's not going to end up inside of your smoking apparatuses and stuff. I think it's a great idea and definitely worth the money. Some Brazilian rutile. Very nice stuff. I really enjoy cutting this material. My grandpa carves this stuff a lot. To me, it almost feels like it's a little bit softer than regular quartz. I wonder if it's because of the stuff inside of it that kind of mineralizes it and makes it feel softer. Sometimes it's just cheaper to buy the finished pieces of rutile. But there's nothing more satisfying than selling, you know, cabs and jewelry with cabs that you've made yourself. $40 a kilogram, that is not bad. I wouldn't be surprised if it's for this particular batch though. This is a much lower quality with a very, very rough tumble polish. It looks like maybe it's rocking at about 400 gram. So I'm pretty sure this is not the $40 a kilogram material. If it was, I would probably have to buy a bunch of kilograms of this and then recut it because the polish is kind of miserable. It's okay, but it could be better. So I'll definitely find out if this is also $40 a kilogram. Maybe we can find out right now. Ah, yes, the tumbles are 40. I don't think these tabs and freeforms are 40. All right, some spheres. Getting into sphering is pretty expensive here in the States. In my opinion, the best sphering machine is the Highland Park. I am friends with Sherman Rowland and John Rowland. Such a pleasure to know those folks. And I just found out that they say you get a better polish using the traditional sphering machine for your final polish than using the high-speed sphering machine. So people who are into production probably would want to get a couple of each. It would pay for itself for sure. And I see a lot of folks, especially at the Tucson Gem Show, that dedicate their entire booth to spheres. But yeah, it looks like all of these spheres are mass-produced, slightly damaged sometimes, and are being sold for nearly 3 times the value of what they really are worth. Tourmalated quartz, 66 bucks. Yeah, just a little overpriced. But heck, if you don't know where to find them online, if you don't have a supplier, and if you don't have the means to coming to larger gem shows, it's not so bad. I just don't think you would be able to get much money from reselling these. You'd be surprised though. On some of these social media gem shows, some people are selling things for way too much money. It's quite ridiculous. I think people get pretty addicted to buying from online gem shows like they do with like QVC and stuff. Like they have to buy it. And since on QVC you don't see people who are like gonna buy it from you, and there's only one of what they're selling on the social media shows, so you have to get it. I don't even really like it, but I gotta get it because someone else is gonna get it and maybe I'll want it later, you know. So it definitely, a lot of the online social media gem shows, a lot of people on there are quite addicted to buying. What's up?
Find any caps?
No, this is kind of like a lower quality, little bit of everything kind of cap, you know. These are cute. Like maybe heat treated citrine. Yeah, it's just citrine. Kind of looks like lemon quartz though. I don't really think it's citrine. Yikes. $94 for a honey calcite sphere. That is quite ridiculous. The ocean jasper seems about right though. This stuff can go for a pretty penny, but still.
That's huge.
I think this is kind of like a one-stop shop kind of booth. And so the prices are a little silly. No offense. Love the Kambaba. This material is quite cheap. I've seen it go for about $1 a pound, up to about $4 a pound. So So a $78 sphere is not for me, but someone would love this thing for that price. And these trees, it's like they're resin together. A lot of times you'll see people taking like little chip beads and making these, but making them where they're kind of like just stuck together with resin has got to be so much more easy. I think these are kind of, you know, not for everybody, definitely not for me. But that's about it for this booth.